I really don't know how to feel about this one. This is a strange one right here. So, as many of you will know, one of my favourite fighters is Artur Beterbiev, even though I am more Team Bivol. I like Dmitry Bivol. I'm more Team Bivol, but I love watching Artur Beterbiev. He's one of my favourite fighters. And obviously, with that in mind, you would imagine I'm very much looking forward to the trilogy fight. We've seen two fights between Beterbiev and Bivol. They've both been just beyond incredible. They haven't been Gary Ward in terms of it's not been rock'em sock'em robots, but the skill involved. There's been drama without knockdowns. Bear in mind, there's no knockdowns. In 24 rounds they've shared in the ring, no knockdowns. But the drama, the skill on display, everything is just phenomenal between the two. They have chemistry in the ring, there's no doubt about that. So you would imagine that when it's announced that there's probably going to be a trilogy fight, we just don't have a date, I'm thinking, happy days. Doesn't need to be for Undisputed. Beterbiev's been undisputed, Bivol's been undisputed, they've one win apiece. You could argue that maybe Bivol won the first fight. Personally, I think Beterbiev did. No doubt that Bivol won the second fight, although it was competitive. You're looking forward to the trilogy fight, put it like that. You hear whispers that maybe it's going to be in Russia, maybe that it's going to be, backed by some Russian whoever. I honestly don't know who. And you're thinking, okay, look, it's going to be there instead of Riyadh, but at the end of the day, we're still going to get this fight, right? Well, we get an announcement yesterday evening, that Artur Beterbiev will begin his road to redemption. Bear in mind, Beterbiev is now, 40, come the end of January next year, he'll be 41. Road to redemption, I mean, you don't have that much time left in the road. It's coming to an end very quickly. And it will be on the November 22nd card, Ring Magazine 4, the Night of Champions in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Beterbiev will collide with dangerous puncher Dion Nicholson, who has 18 knockouts in his 22 wins. I was actually somewhat familiar with Nicholson before this fight was announced. I did see his fight up at Cruiserweight a couple of years ago. I can't remember the guy's name, but Chev Clark beat him, so you're kind of talking European level. His nickname is the Equalizer, obviously implying that he's a big puncher, but at what level? I shouldn't say it, well, I don't mean this in a bad way, but Nicholson is trained by, or at least he's part of that JD stable in Skybox gym in Alabama. Same gym that has Deontay Wilder. Same gym that couldn't teach Deontay Wilder the most basic techniques. This is the guy who comes out of that gym. And if you see some of the guys who come out of that gym, yikes. That's what I'll say on that one. Saying that, his only sole loss was up at Cruiserweight. He is a big puncher. At the end of the day, what the hell is going on with Dmitry Bivol? Or what's going on with this fight? Because Bivol only a week or so ago was posting pictures in Pisa, in Italy. Seemingly fine, no issues. But now we get this announcement. What is going on with the rematch, or the trilogy fight, really? I've seen a lot of people claim that Bivol is trying to age Beterbiev out. Well, at the end of the day, in the nicest way, Dmitry Bivol knew when he was stepping into the ring with Beterbiev last October that he was going in there with a guy who was pushing 40. He was closer to 40 than he was to 38, if you know what I mean. He was literally going to be 40 in 3 months' time. So he knew he was in there with an aged fighter. Bear in mind, Beterbiev is older than Alexander Usyk. We talk about Alexander Usyk missing a step. We talk about Alexander Usyk, getting older, competing with these guys who are in their prime. Dmitry Bivol is in his mid-30s. I think he's about 32, 33, maybe a little bit older. At the end of the day, Beterbiev is 40. He is now 40 years old. And you saw in the rematch, I should say, I was going to say trilogy, but you saw in the rematch that Beterbiev, when he had his moments, he couldn't sustain them. You look at that fight, the mid-rounds, Beterbiev was really doing well. He was really doing well, but you could tell those 40-year-old legs, they just couldn't keep it up the way they used to. It allowed Bivol to take control. It allowed him to sweep a couple of the later rounds and ultimately win a deserved unanimous. Was it unanimous or was it majority? But either way, he deserved to win it. Now, I am wondering about this. What is up with Bivol? Is he injured? What's going on here? You would expect Matchroom, who are the promoters of Dmitry Bivol along with World of Boxing, who World of Boxing are a very, very wealthy outlet over in Russia. They were the people who famously outbid Vladimir Klitschko for the Povetkin fight all those years ago. Horrible fight, don't watch it. But yeah, it's an interesting one. You'd like to see a statement on what's going on with this, because this actually answers a lot of questions, or asks a lot of questions, to really be saying, because Dmitry Bivol vacated his WBC light heavyweight world title. Right, he vacated that title in order to pursue this trilogy fight because obviously he had a mandatory due, which was against Dave Benavidez. Benavidez is now fighting Anthony Yarde. That vacation now just seems irrelevant because Beterbiev is fighting Nicholson, who he should dispatch with relative ease. In fact, Nicholson can punch a bit, but that's, again, if you've seen him fight, and I have followed a bit of his career, certainly early on, that's all he can really do. He can't do much else. He's a puncher. He's not Deontay Wilder sloppy. He's not that sloppy. But, like, he's still nothing to write home about. At the end of the day, this should be a fairly run-of-the-mill win, probably a stoppage win easily for Artur Beterbiev. What's up with Bivol? I'd like to just get some clarification on what's happening here. Because, again, as I say, you've gone and vacated your WBC light heavyweight world title rather than go through with a fight with Dave Benavidez, which to me, I would have loved. I think that's going to be an epic fight if in fact it had happened. Instead, now Benavidez is fighting Anthony Yarde, which, don't get me wrong, I don't hate the fight, certainly, not in the least. I think it's a very, very intriguing fight, but it's intriguing in the sense of I think Yarde can be competitive. He can cause maybe some bother to Dave Benavidez, but ultimately, he's probably going to get taken out and stopped. Bivol Benavidez, you'd make Bivol favourite, but, you know, there's questions there. Given the fact that Beterbiev isn't fighting Bivol next, you know, it's a lot of questions, really. Because Bivol really should have just kept the WBC title. If he's not fighting Beterbiev next, just keep it. Fight Benavidez. There you go. So I don't know what's going on here. In terms of November 22nd, this I believe will be the first card that the Ring and Riyadh season are doing, which will not be pay-per-view. Obviously, Turkey Al-Sheikh stated a couple of weeks ago that moving forward, Riyadh season shows and Ring magazine shows will no longer be pay-per-view. And this show, oh my God, let's just have a quick look-see at this card. So bear in mind, they did the last Crescendo, which Beterbiev was also on, which was a phenomenal card. I mean, even though we lost, who did we lose? We lost Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker. Parker fought, obviously, Martin McCauley. Less said about that, the better. They don't have it listed on BoxRec right now. But we have Dave Benavidez, Anthony Yarde, Abdullah Mason, Sam Noakes, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, Fernando Daniel Martinez, and Brian Norman Jr. versus Devin Haney. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's phenomenal. That's actually crazy how good that card is. Non-pay-per-view, and now we have Beterbiev, one of the most exciting fighters in boxing, one of the biggest punchers, on that card as well. Phenomenal. It really is. Non-pay-per-view as well. Non-pay-per-view. Crazy. But I am still wondering what's going on with Beterbiev and Bivol. Because it just seems that trilogy fight it's there for the taking, you know? And yeah, you could say, well, this is a good way to keep Beterbiev active. Yeah, fair enough. You know, I'll give you that one. But at the end of the day, by the time, right? 'Cause I'm going to say if now, because God only knows what might happen between now and, well, whenever. If we do see Beterbiev-Bivol, the trilogy fight, Beterbiev will be older. He'll be now 41, most likely, because if he fights in November, say he gets rid of Nicholson in 5 rounds, hypothetically, you know, maybe doesn't shift that much punishment, but, you know, 40 years old, maybe wants to, you know, have a bit of time off, you know, recover in between camps, this, that, and the other. It could be mid-2026. You're talking then about a 41-year-old who's maybe closer to 42, Artur Beterbiev against Dmitry Bivol. It won't be the same. I mean, already he's not in his prime. And again, people saying, well, Usyk's 38. Yeah, but Usyk's not making weight. And Usyk has slowed down as well, for those who, you know, once he has slowed down, you can see that. But, I don't know. I mean, this to me is like, really, what's the problem with Beterbiev-Bivol? I'd like to see what Team Bivol have to say. If he's injured, fair enough, can't be helped. These things happen. But what's going on here? Because we're hearing Beterbiev, he's going to fight Dion Nicholson, etc., 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 all that good stuff. Not hearing about Bivol. You know, Callum Smith is meant to be fighting Dave Morrell. We should have an announcement in a couple of days on that one, or a couple of weeks on that one. Happy days, all well and good. We obviously know Anthony Yarde, Joshua Buatsi, etc., etc., etc. Bivol, who is the guy, like, honest to God, what's happened? We don't know. So, yeah, strange one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on this one. Hope you enjoyed the video, people. As always, if you could smash the like button, I would greatly appreciate it. We're less than 100 subs. Less than 100 subs off 26k. Obviously, the goal between now and the end of the year is 30k. We just did Ade and G-Man today. It was good fun. Ade is probably tonight going to hit 100k. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. I would love to hit 30k. And then we can, you know, march forward to 50, which would be actually insane. The fact I'm saying 30k is actually quite insane, even for me. Like, I'm hearing Ade's on 100k, I'm saying 30k, and I'm absolutely getting goosebumps thinking of that. So if you could help me out getting to that, I would greatly appreciate it. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. Until next time, people, I will talk to you. Peace.